Well, hello there and welcome to the bathroom of the dollhouse for another reading from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Used Elfers for December 5th, the day of confidence. All right, and here at the top of the page is a visual representation of the day of confidence. We have us an image, or I don't know, an artistic representation of, rather. What is it? Boom, it's like an old-timey baseball player, and he's jumping onto or being bucked off of what looks to be a giant pickle that's been turned into a sawhorse. I don't know, is that an adequate visual representation of the day of confidence? Hey, maybe. It takes a little bit of confidence to do things like that. That's right. I don't know. Maybe we'll make some kind of association with as much as we get on with the read. Who's to say? But not altogether all too important about the visual representational image there. No, not when somebody's birthday is at hand here. That's right. Is it December 5th and it's your birthday today? Well, if it is, I just want to say happy birthday. That's what's important. Me wishing you a happy birthday. But, you know, sometimes these videos find folks late, days, weeks, months, whatever the case may be. Hey, perfectly understandable. Busy individual you are. You're probably not typing in your birthday on the internet there on the day anyhow. So that being said, if that's the case, I just want to say I hope you had a happy birthday. That's right. Now, if everyone else is joining us randomly or more ideally to celebrate the December 5th birthday, I just want to say hello, welcome, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Now, before I dive in with the redirect, something I like to do around these here parts for the birthday boys and girls, but for you random folks too. And that's roll some dice. That's right. This is the DykASSt birthday broadcast, so I need to live up to the namesake, or at least I like to anyhow, by rolling some dice. But I do so more importantly for a purpose. That's right, for synchronicity. That's what it is there. A 4 and a 2 for a 6. Now, what's synchronicity, you're probably wondering? Well, it's just you getting out in the world and letting the universe show you, or the powers that be show you that it's with you on your path. And you do that by figuring out some kind of sign or some mutually agreed upon waypost that you can use to be shown the way, if you like. That's right. So what do? You're 2 and you're 4 for a 6. Now, you don't have to go with the numbers that I rolled for you, but it is ideal that you take your own pair of dice so you can ascribe directional values to number sets and also time limits with which to go in those directions. But once that's been said, once you get your numbers all established, your point from which you're going to start figured out, and you set off. You see, all too often we get out in the world and we got the blinders up, folks. We just set on one particular task or getting our honey-do list figured out, and so we're missing the things that are going on around us. And as it's been told to me, the powers that be will put things in your path to help you actualize the things that you want to get out of this life, or the goals that you want to accomplish. But all too often we don't notice those things. It's even been told to me that even if you stray from the path, the universe, the powers that be will put other things in your path to get you back on the right path. But again, we got the blinders on, so we don't notice as much. So you can think of this as an exercise to see that kind of thing. That's right. Get those coincidences, if you like, to manifest for you so that you can see proof positive that the universe or the powers that be are there with you. And so we're taking the blinders off, folks. We're doing this as an exercise to manifest that directly. That's right, your numbers. But once again, so you get off, maybe you reach the end of your first little time limit jaunt there and you don't see anything. Oh, what's this? There's no magic to be seen. That's not necessarily true. You got to give it a little bit of time. It takes a while for the universe to sometimes get things going that get put down in your path, if you like. But so you take some time, compose yourself, and you stay eagle-eyed for your signs. That's right, you're 2 and you're 4 for a 6. But hey, maybe there's just no numbers coming in at you. That's okay. Sometimes these signs, they can take other, manifestations, if you like. Maybe a theme. Maybe you start seeing pickles everywhere. You know what? Maybe on bus benches, maybe advertisements for the dill sort with the pelican on the side of it, on maybe a bus that passes by. Who's to say? You got to stay eagle-eyed for different things, all right? Keep your mind open and your judgments in the trash. That's right, back there in the car where you left them. But hey, who's to say? Maybe that bus with the pickle advertisement rolls right up, and it's maybe it's the number of 24 line. I was going to say 42. Maybe it could be the 42 as well, but it's also got a pickle on the side of it too. Hey, you know what? That's a sign, if any, I've seen or heard, right? So take a chance. Maybe you don't ride the bus all too often, if ever. Maybe you just abhor the very idea. But you know what? Maybe you just so happen to have perfect change in your pocket. So you know what? That's a sign too. Get on there and maybe roll your dice, because you know you want to get off that as soon as possible. So get your time limit established, riding the bus along, and you know what, maybe that time limit elapses and you get off, and you know, there it again, maybe it's the 24 line you got off on. That being said, what are you doing now? You don't see any signs. Hey, stay eagle-eyed for anomalies too. Maybe you see somebody in a, I don't know, in a blue sweater with an orange shirt and a pink watch. You know what, that screams anomalous, because most folks aren't wearing ostentatious stuff like that in their everyday life. So I would pick up on something like that. Sometimes it's instinct too. That person stands out to me. There we go. So get down, roll your dice for a time limit, and that'll establish enough time for you to put some distance between the two of you. So it doesn't seem like you're stalking them. That's not what you want to be doing here. You're just using them as the universal guide. And who's to say, maybe they take you on their little journey there, right up to a building that, oh, what's this? It's got of 24 in the address. That's right. And hey, you know what? Maybe they catch you. Hey, didn't you follow me from the bus? And you just, you know what? Be open, be transparent. You've got all the evidence to show what you're doing is real, even though it sounds like a farce. Hey, I'm just here trying to make the universe show me what's on in my path, right? Trying to manifest some things here. Now, what are you talking about? Show them your dice, tell them a story, show them this video. And you know what? More often than not, maybe they'll think you're strange. Maybe that's just totally outside the ballpark. But you know what? Other people want magic in their lives too. And so there's a good chance they might just join you. That's right. Put their groceries away, whatever it was they were doing. Maybe they'll invite you up for coffee or tea. Who's to say? I don't know. I'd be a little bit weary at that point. But you know what? If they're here with you at this point, after you showed them all this stuff, either they're trying to get you off the street or they want to make a new friend themselves. That's right. But let's say that the coffee's off the table. You got places to go. You want to feel the magic. But hey, you invite them along. Roll your dice. See where you go. That's right. You just made a friend. Maybe that's what it was all about. All right. That being said, I think you get the idea. Things to look out for on your path. See, taste, touch, feel some of the magic. And if you do start to see even a little bit of it line up, consider it coincidence or not, I think you're going to enjoy yourself, all right? And who can ask for anything more on their birthday but to enjoy themselves? And at the very least, hey, you're getting some steps in, right? In any event. That being said, that's synchronicity in a nutshell, so to speak. Let's get on with the birthday read, all right? Your month is December. Your day is the 5th. Your sign is 12 to 14 degrees Sagittarius of the Sagittarius II period specifically. And your quality and elements is mutable fire. All right, December 5th, the day of confidence. Those born on December 5 are immensely confident of their ability to get things done. And sometimes this confidence is justified. Sometimes it isn't. Those born on this day are indeed capable of great coups, but then again, they are also capable of falling flat on their face. When they do fail, it is usually due to an unrealistic outlook, viewing prospects through rose-colored glasses, rather than any failure on their part to make a valiant effort. Thus, they must come to recognize it is not only the quality of one's efforts that make for a successful outcome, but also planning and careful appraisal of an endeavor's chances and forethought. December 5 people tend to be lively and dynamic types rather than charged personalities, and they often intensely focus on what they are experiencing at any given time, and because they are generous with their attention, equally eager to share such experiences with others. How about that? And indeed, they can be surprised when those close to them don't share their views or enjoy the same things they do. Of course, as December 5 people mature, they become more tolerant and respectful of others' privacy. But this need to share intensely with another person remains. Having the sort of confidence that December 5 people manifest, of course, has many benefits, and those born on this day are relatively free of many worries and self-doubts that plague others. However, they must acknowledge those difficulties do indeed exist, and too often they assure themselves that everything is going fine, when it isn't. And their barometer should be the vibes and feedback they receive from friends, associates, acquaintances, and even rivals or competitors. And basically, they have to learn that what others say and think has significance, even if untrue. Because December 5 people are active types, they are not ones to procrastinate or let things run their course. Though such an attitude is in general is positive and makes their life less complicated, it can also involve them in trying to solve what is better left alone. And thus, for those born on this day, judgment and self-awareness is key. And it is imperative that December 5 people have a very firm, realistic idea of what their role in life is and what their objectives are. And until that time that they are apt to flounder and, despite their optimism, likely to grow discouraged. And in fact, repeated failures may be a bitter but invaluable guide to realizations which form the bedrock of their experience. And when December 5 people come to realize the nature of uncertainty and admit the power of fate, and above all develop a feeling for the irony inherent in the human condition, they will have laid a solid, dependable framework for their future actions. Well, all right, how about that for a pretty dynamic, albeit somewhat narrowly focused birthday breakdown? I'll get into why here in a moment. I like to provide a little bit of a commentary, if you like, about what we just read. Maybe also make some connections with the days in the period, the days that may have crept up, show similarities. Who's to say? But let's dive into it, shall we? A little bit of commentary here. Let's see if I can get my pronunciation of words back on track, too. I fumbled a few of them in there, made them sound funny. Let's see, maybe I can do it again. Let's see. December 5, the day of confidence. You're intensely confident in your ability to get things done, all right? And you're capable of great feats, but also susceptible to huge rug pulls, they said in a form there. But apparently this comes down to your eyes being bigger than your stomach, I would say, and not your gumption, all right? It says you got the vitality to get after things. That's not where the error may lie. So the reading emphasizes proper planning before you attempt taming and any representational giant gherkins, if you like, all right, or literal giant gherkins for that matter. Fully realizing the irony in qualifying a gherkin as giant just makes it a regular pickle. That's right. I had to get back on that visual representational image there for you. Any event, but I think the analogy still stands, okay? You tend to be lively, dynamic, and so I'm not quite sure if I got this right here, rather charged personalities. I said rather than. It says rather charged personalities. And you're a laser of focused individual on whatever you are doing in the moment, okay? But you're also eager to include others in those experiences. And I forgot about that part. And I had you include somebody in the synchronicity walkthrough, didn't I? It made me smile when I thought of that. Which I'm guessing though here, with you including other folks in your experiences, might be a way of saying you're overly optimistic, which, not the worst thing in the world, right? But maybe not also. As at times you may be too eager to share, am I right? You're prone to forcing your interests on those who aren't interested, okay? And the reading also relates your confidence having many benefits, but also lists you being relatively free of worry and self-doubt, which is huge. A lot of folks, many folks, don't have that. They got to work at getting rid of that aspect of their lives there, or accepting it better. But I wrote here, it's a little bit disappointing, but I like to see this give and take that they provide, e.g. showing your confidence has pitfalls too. That's right, it's a little disappointing if everybody's just high on the pickle, if you like, and standing in for a horse. There's just nothing to fault them for. It's kind of like unrealistic in a way. But they show you have your pitfalls too with this optimism or this eager approach to life. Like assuring you things will be fine when they aren't, okay? Or taking charge and letting things, without letting things run their course, or when you should let them run their course, rather. or trying to solve a problem, it's better left alone, okay? To all this, the reading suggests taking into account feedback or vibes coming from those that you trust, or even those that you don't, so that you can gauge whether you're being appropriate or not. Which I'm guessing may be a skill you might have to force yourself to accept, okay? Much like those folks who don't have the self-confidence. They got to kind of force themselves into it, right? Maybe you don't know about that, but that happens to be the case there. But your optimism and energy perhaps clouds the reality that others are different and possibly not as receptive to your charged, striving after what life has to offer dynamic. All right? So just be mindful of that. Others are different, especially when compared to someone who's just a get up and go kind of individual. The likes of which may change either through forced or learned objectivity. You might start to learn to see that if you force yourself into it, or kind of be empathetic to what other people might be experiencing. It's probably hard for you to accept something you can't understand subjectively, but yeah, other folks, they might not be so positively charged, right? What else we got here? There might be some life struggles that help you change that dynamic, life lessons, if you like, and self-awareness practices too. Make you realize that mounting a giant pickle is not always what it's cracked up to be. Fun as it sounds. At least I'm assuming that. So, in the event, able to work in the pickle a little bit there. I don't do that too often because it just sounds silly, but let's have some self-confidence, right? I figured you'd appreciate me drilling down on it there. Maybe you didn't, maybe you do, who's to say it? But let's move on to your numbers and your planets. That's right. Those born on the 5th of the month are ruled by the number 5 and the speedy planet Mercury, which represents quickness of thought and change. Since Jupiter rules Sagittarius, December 5 people come under the influence of a Mercury-Jupiter connection, which lends integrity as well as a persuasive, optimistic outlook. And whatever knocks or pitfalls those ruled by the number 5 encounter, they usually recover quickly. And a gift sorely needed by those born on December 5. All right. Assuming because you're always getting after it. And if you take a tumble, you got to be able to get up quick, right? Them pickles are slimy, so to speak. All right. What I have to say about your numbers and your planets here. Maybe we can get off the pickle example there for you. 5 in Mercury for quickness of thought and change and quick recovery from the hard knocks of life, right? We said all that. With the Jupiter co-rulership for integrity, persuasive skills, and an optimistic outlook. What's interesting is I don't quite know where they get that particular idea that that's going to be emphasized through that commingling of the planet powers there, but I know an optimistic outlook is imparted by Jupiter specifically. So I'm not quite sure about the integrity and persuasive skills. Maybe that's a Mercury thing. But Jupiter in general does help ensconce or further bolster things that come from the other planet. So maybe that's the case there. What else we got here? And I don't know why they emphasized you sorely need the quick recovery gift, but maybe there's some elements of struggle and failure they haven't drilled down upon coming up with. They've been doing that lately here. They've been leaving things for later on in the read, and they kind of surprised me with it. I'm like, wait a second here, that wasn't in the breakdown. Sometimes they put things in the other sections that you're normally reserved for the breakdown. So while I was writing this, maybe I figured that. But I think I drilled down on the reason for it as I was ad-libbing here with you. That said, Jupiter is the king of the gods, also said to impart luck, material luck, and a drive to come out on top. So I would say I kind of spoke to your breakdown as well. Maybe not the luck so much, but that drive to be on top did. But that isn't always the case. Yesterday, they drilled down on luck being responsible for dramatic changes in mood. And the way they worded it, it didn't sound like a good thing. I could see how you could be like, well, yeah, if my luck changed, my mood would skyrocket, right? I think they worded it in a way where it's kind of like, no, that's not really the case there. That being said, just food for thought there. Maybe there's some luck in your life, but it changes your mood for the negative. And if that is the case, maybe now you know where it comes from. The old expansive planet Jupiter there. Who's to say I just wanted to add a little bit something else to the numbers and planets, because they did do a little bit of a copy-paste job here for you. The hard knocks and all that. Typical Mercury entry. But that being said, hey, there you go. Hopefully you got some value out of that, your numbers and planets. So let's move on to your tarot. That's right, the old tarot. One of the more eclectic of the New Age metaphysical ideologies. But hey, it's here in the book. It's your birthday. If you don't believe in that kind of thing, think it's blasphemy or, devil summoning, hey, whatever. We're going to leave it here in the book. You don't have to take it home with you and start dealing out the cards, right? So let's just see what it has to say. It's your birthday. It's fun. Let's get into it. The 5th card of the major arcana is the Hierophant, an interpreter of sacred mysteries who is symbolic of human understanding and faith. His knowledge is esoteric and he has authority over things unseen. And favorable traits conferred by this card are self-assuredness and insight. Unfavorable traits, however, include moralizing, bombast, and dogmatism. All right, Abe, what does all that mean? Maybe I can clear some of it up here for you with the notes. Let's get back into it here. The Hierophant, or the priest, if you've never heard of that one. An interpreter of sacred mysteries and human understanding, all right, for positives of self-assuredness and insight. Hey, that sounds like it informs the breakdown a bit there. And considering your optimism for life and your desire to share that with others, I'd say that this card is very apt because there's wisdom that comes from experience, right? If not just captivating stories. Other folks that just stay at home, they ain't making stories, really. What are they going to tell you about? What was on television? The book they read? Maybe those things, but not necessarily all that too captivating. Unless they're one of them really good storytellers, who's to say? But that's like what I said here, which isn't all the case. It isn't always the case. These cards aren't always apt descriptions of the breakdown. That said, be mindful of moralizing, bombast, and dogmatism. To say don't lean in on cramping or cramming what is yours down other people's throats, right? Or what works for you might not work for other folks. So I could maybe see you being overly optimistic, getting up on your Apple crate and just being like, we got to go out there and do this. We got to, make your life better if you like. And you know what? You can't tell that to somebody who sits down on the couch and gets life fulfillment out of watching TV shows. Am I right? Maybe. But even if you do get them out there, they might not enjoy themselves. So there's that moralizing, the bombast, you getting up on that apple cart, and the dogmatism being like you think of this as kind of your faith or your religion, if you like, and you're trying to preach it to other people. You got to beware of those things. The negative qualities, all right? But in any event, that's what I'd say about your tarot. Hopefully that cleared a few things up. I don't know that we really lent much to the read there from as much, but hey, maybe my insight into reading and looking up some of these words kind of helps clear out some of the fog there, if you like. In any event, I think you get the point. That's your tarot. Let's move on to your health. All right, your health here. December 5 people must be careful of accidents of all types. Particularly the more rash individuals born on this day may fearlessly tempt fate once too often. Both a stable diet and learning meditative practices can help bring their wilder energies in line. Particularly recommended are diets built around grains and root vegetables, with excess sugars and preservatives, or without, rather, excess sugars and preservatives. Drugs of all types, particularly hallucinogens and uppers, it says in parentheticals, should be avoided. A broad spectrum of physical activity is recommended for these kinetic individuals. All right, here. I had a little note. I'm not quite sure what that means, but maybe we'll get to it. All right, what I say about your health? This one was a little interesting. Sparse almost to a certain extent. They usually have a couple more sentences in there. Let's see what I got to say in the notes. Be careful accidents even if you recover quickly, even if you got that Mercury energy behind you, all right? As it's also said for a lot of other Mercury folks. They're out there being too fast, a little too reckless, maybe not properly prepared. But you know what? Even the people that properly prepare for danger, even when the breakdown makes a point of saying they do as much, they still get this warning. Because you can get them broken bones, right? Especially your legs. That's a Sagittarius body area. Careful of them legs there. This mention of avoiding accidents also common for thrill seekers and those hungry for life experiences. And who does that sound like? At least as far as the breakdown's concerned. All right. So what I wrote here, broken bones and the like, particular care for the legs, wrote all that, or said all that rather, but a stable diet and meditation recommended for your energy, all right? Which is kind of a common through line here in this period, but no mention why those drugs aren't recommended, all right? And I say that because common sense notwithstanding why you don't want to go after those things necessarily. This isn't something commonly mentioned. So it's like, where's the context? Why can't I do hallucinogens? I was looking forward to that. That was going to be another life experience to help captivate those folks on the couch there, right? Tell them what I saw out there in the ether, if you like. But they just don't make mention of it. And then these are the kind of things I'd like to know why. Why for me specifically? Because most drugs they mention are, say, nicotine and alcohol. But you got hallucinogens and uppers. Uppers I can kind of see. You already got enough energy. You don't need more, right? And blow your heart up, maybe. I don't know. What else do I have? Risks and reasons for you specifically. Maybe take note. Those might be risky for you. Finally, a broad spectrum of physical activity is mentioned for you also, which is kind of interesting because, you know, a lot of times these active folks, they don't even really recommend exercise because they know you're getting enough of it already. So kind of interesting they drill down on it. Finally, said that. Probably good for your mental health, though, and your fulfillment also. If you're an active individual, let's stay active, right? Keep your mind spry, if you're right, so you can be prepared for those rug pulls that might happen that I mentioned earlier. No mention of regular sex for as much directly. But you know what? That's a common theme in this period also for people's psyche, if you like. Yeah, keep you in a good stand in there. Maybe something to meditate on. Broad spectrum, and it's a running theme this period, is the note I wrote. And I think we basically said as much. Broad spectrum of exercise. All right, that being said, kinetic individuals in your health, we've gone over all that. Let's move on to your advice. I'm getting a little stymied here, a little disjointed. See if we can pick that up and rectify it. All right, your advice. Take a hard look at yourself and your circumstances. Make an inventory of your abilities, and if you haven't already done so. And pay attention to what others say to you, and occasionally follow their advice when it sounds reasonable. Hey, pretty common sense approach there, I'd say, with that last one. All right, what I have to say here, I had to write it in the book with the advice, run out of space in the notebook. Take a hard look at yourself and your circumstances and make an inventory. What do we have here? Actualize some self-awareness, I'm guessing, okay, to help you through the thick and thin and to cultivate objective realities with other people, I'm assuming. Maybe even yourself there to some extent. Don't sacrifice your optimism, though, all right? But don't have it in your head. Don't have your head too far up in the clouds either, okay? You got to come down to earth once in a while, all right? It's good to know it's raining down below is what I wrote. And you don't want to be without a jacket. Oh, I actually had some good ones in here. Jeez, I didn't read it long enough, though. All right, pay attention to others and consider what they have to say when reasonable is what they said. And as I said, common sense, but also a good way of getting that gauge for how you perceive and interact with reality, right? At least how you interact with reality differently than a lot of other people. And like the tarot, you don't have to take it home with you, but cultivate that objectivity, all right? Maybe that's just me giving you a little something to consider there, even though I think the book probably said it first. But you know what? I drill down on objectivity quite a bit, as you might see with one of the future examples here. Okay, so that's been your advice. Let's move on to your meditation. Oh, they said you need some meditation, so if you don't have some already, here's one to meditate on. Strength and vision is important, but so is the ability to see things as they really are. All right, I like that one for you. All right, seems to drill down on a little bit of the theme they had. Once again, strength and vision is important, but so is the ability to see things as they really are. Okay, there's your meditation. I'm not going to throw some spin on it or some way of looking at it to interpret it for you. I kind of already did, but you know what? I didn't get into any specifics there, thankfully. It's your birthday, your meditation, so I'm going to take my hands off of it there. In the event that's been your meditation, let's move on to your strengths and weaknesses. Oh, that's right. Now let's get objective. Now let's see what we've got in the bag here. What people hold us up for and what they consider us down for. That's some other better way of saying that. But anyway, let's hold up the objective mirror and see where we're strong. Also see where we're weak. Your strengths, we know these ones here. Your confidence, your daring, and your active. All right. Hey, I like those ones, but man, that's not all that captivating, quite honestly. They could have come up with some better words, right? And we knew all those. Hey, in any event, you're confident, daring, and active. They're still strong, I would say. But your weaknesses, let's take that objective mirror and flip it around to the side that blows up your face, shows off all them pock marks from all those scars you got on your adventures, right? Or maybe just picking your, your chicken pox scabs, and all of those end up leaving a mark, don't they? That's right. So let's take a look at them, your weaknesses. Ooh, here we go. We might know these ones already. Your overconfidence. Oh, unrealistic. Ooh, and unaware. Okay, overly confident. I thought it was just going to be overly optimistic. That was kind of in there, right? Hey, you know what? Overconfident, unrealistic, unaware. Some might consider those a strength in certain circumstances. Don't forget to be objective about it. Maybe sometimes those things are called for. That's right. That being said, if those are things you want to, rectify or improve upon, I would say your confident, daring, and active strengths are going to help you do as much. But hey, you know what? Your weaknesses are a part of you, so don't just throw them lump sum all together into the trash. That's right. Like I said, they might come to serve you in the future at some point. That's right. So in any event, that being said, that's been your strengths and your weaknesses. Let's dive in to those born on this day. That's right. See who shares your company. But as we dive in with that, I think it's the perfect opportunity to segue and examine something that I find important, and that's figuring out our passions. A lot of times you get out in the world and meet folks, asking what they do, and more importantly, if they like it, just to kind of, add something, another dynamic to the question. But they don't like it, right? They just haven't figured out what their purpose in this world is. A passion, if you like. And I think it's important that we have that in our lives so that we're doing backflips when we get out of bed in the morning to get into what we want to do, right? I mean, it sounds to me like you probably got that figured out if we're going by the breakdown, but realistically, probably not, right? So I think this is a perfect opportunity to not only put a bug in your ear about it, but to see who else born on this day and what they did with their lives. I mean, it might not have been their passion, but it got them in the book, right? So maybe we can take some kind of inspiration from that, and that's something that we don't necessarily have in our lives. Because like I said, I think it's important that we get out of bed doing backflips and feeling fulfilled in our day. And you know what? There's not always a lot of time to put in the energy to figure those things out. So maybe we can take a moment and drive up some inspiration there. Find some, if you like. Rekindle our drive to get after our passions, if and it was lacking. That's right. I'm assuming a little bit here. Let's be objective. You probably already got it figured out. But let's dive in. We got Walt Disney. Oh, the animator and film producer and entertainment empire builder. We also have Werner Heisenberg, the German Nobel Prize-winning physicist of quantum mechanics and the uncertainty principle developer. We also have George Custer, the U.S. Civil War Indian Wars general, and died in the battle at Little Bighorn. That's right, his eyes were bigger than his stomach. He thought he could take on the whole nation there. I'm not quite sure which tribe it was, but he couldn't do it. That's right. Who else we got here? Fritz Lang, the Austrian-American film director of Metropolis. We also have Martin Van Buren, the U.S. president, senator, governor, and secretary of state. So quite his feet in all the different little pools there. We also have Little Richard, all right, the rock and roll singer and entertainer. We also have James Cleveland, the gospel singer, songwriter. We also have Otto Preminger, a film director of Laura and Bonjour Tristesse. We also have Jose Carreras, a Spanish tenor. Joan Didon, screenwriter of A Star is Born, a novelist of the White Album. Art Davis, a jazz bassist and psychologist. Oh, that's an interesting dynamic there. Oh, here's one of my favorites. Here we go. J.J. Cale, the singer and the songwriter, famous for Cocaine and Anywhere the Wind Blows, even though Eric Clapton made it famous. And I think Leonard Skinner made the other one famous, although that might have been a different song. Any event, he's got a groove, let me tell you. We also have Anastasio Somoza Debayle, all right, who was a Nicaraguan dictator and overthrown by the Sandinistas. We also have Sheldon L. Glashow, U.S. Nobel Prize-winning a physicist of elementary particles. We also have Abraham Polanski, a film director of Tell Them Willie Boy is Here. We also have Philip K. Wrigley, the gum manufacturer and the Chicago Cubs owner. We also have Jim Plunkett, the football quarterback, and he led the Oakland L.A. Raiders to 2 Super Bowl wins. We also have Strom Thurmond, U.S. Senator of South Carolina, and Christina Rossetti, British pre-Raphaelite poet, and Robert Hand, the astrologer and famous for planets in transit. All right, hey, a little astrology there for you. Of course the authors are going to know that individual. In any event, that's been those born on this day. Like I said, hopefully we put the bug in your ear about stirring up those passions. I know it's a big ask, tall order to do as much if you haven't figured that out already. But like I said, hopefully if I can wish for you anything on your birthday, it's that you find some way to find life fulfilling. That's right. Assuming you don't already. So maybe that provided just the little push you needed to get on that part of your path. That's right. In any event, that essentially rounds out your birthday, except to say your season is fall, your sign is Sagittarius, and of the Sagittarius II period specifically, like I said previously, and your quality and elements is mutable fire. Now, what does that mean? That's a different video altogether that I'll leave a link for at the end of the video there. But that being said, I kind of butchered a couple names there, didn't I? You might not know, but I did. So let's make up for that. It's not done in malice. It's just the hooked on phonics doesn't always work for me with the names. That being said, that essentially rounds out your birthday read. All right, and this has been December 5th, the Day of Confidence from the Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Stelfers. I have an affiliate link for this book down in the description there. Save you the hassle of having to type it in a browser if you're interested in picking up a copy. And if you aren't, just let me tell you something. This makes a great coffee table book. If you're going to have company over, and there's some of those folks that just kind of sit on a couch and they don't like your captivating stories, well, hey, let's break the ice with something a little different here. Let's read your birthday. Let's see what your strengths and weaknesses are there, couch potato. That's right. Hey, you know what? It's going to get the ice broken for better or for worse, especially with them folks who don't think it speaks to them at all, but you see that it does, and it's going to get the conversation started, like I said. But in any event, that's not altogether all too important. No, sir or ma'am. It's somebody's birthday, so once again, like I said at the top, what's important around here? Wishing you a happy birthday. That's right. But for everybody else who joined us, hey, I hope you enjoyed yourself, enjoyed celebrating the, December 5th birthday there, the Day of Confidence, and I hope you join us for your birthday read. That's right. But lest I forget, your daily numbers. Your 2 and your 4 for a 6. That's right. As if there wasn't enough to process here. Get out there and let the universe or the powers that be show you they're with you on your path. All right. Manifest some coincidences out there or some synchronicity, whatever you want to call it. But if you do see, taste, touch, feel, maybe even smell some of that magic, you're going to understand why I suggested it in the first place. That's right. So get out there and at least get your steps in. You know you like a little bit of that exercise, right? Okay, Day of Confidence. Get out there, ride some pickles if any you like, some giant gherkins, which would just be regular-sized pickles, and enjoy yourself, all right? Stay optimistic, stay objective so you're not offending people who don't have the same kind of energy you do, and have a happy birthday. That's right. Take care of yourselves.